So, I saw a movie so you wouldn't have to, and believe me, you really don't have to. Let's talk a little bit about AquaMan and the Lost Kingdom. Here we go! Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to get a lot of questions, and I'm just going to answer this one right up front. Should you wait to see this in streaming? I would say yes. There's not a lot missed unless you see it in 3D or some other large format that you prefer. If you don't have a decent quality sound system at home, I could get your instinct to go see this in a theater. And if you do, I can't blame you, but I wouldn't encourage you to. It's not exactly the most offensive movie ever made. It certainly isn't the worst film I've seen this year, and it's definitely not the best. It's miles away from that. And to support something that Tom Connors over at Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark has been saying for a while, Amber Heard is the least of this movie's problems. She is, well, there. And she's there a lot more than you would want or expect. Probably didn't help the movie very much since she is just a very unlikable person, and a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people will have difficulty separating the actress, bad person that she is, and, what she's doing in this movie. And she doesn't do anything particularly big and not anything particularly good, but she doesn't do anything bad. And that's saying something. She plays her character very well and does display a couple of emotions. You've seen them before in Courtroom with Johnny Depp, but that's it. That's what you get, and that's all you should expect. But it's not bad. And again, you might maybe mistake some of her emotion for her son as legitimate. Now, does she get injured? Yes. Does she end up in a hospital bed? Yes, she does. Now, that's probably about it as far as the major spoilers that I'm going to try to convey. Largely, this movie is exactly what you think it is. Exactly. Beginning to end, you get Manta back one more time, you get Arthur's brother back one more time, and you get everything that you've seen before one more time, only with more Marvel humor, which doesn't land well. You also get a very misplaced soundtrack. The background sounds like we were going for a bit of Flash Gordon. That's what it was. I was trying to place it until just now. And you're gonna get that in various places, especially during, and this is weird, the introduction of a new kingdom or city or something very strange. But hey, it's something different. The technology is there. It's over technological. It's very, as I've read in other reviews today, cartoonish. Cartoonish is a way of putting this that would kind of make it feel like it makes sense. Now, the interesting thing is the bad guys look very much like bad guys. They are what they look like. If you thought they looked like zombies, well, kinda, yeah, sorta. It does look like, it doesn't even matter. That doesn't happen till the end of the film. But for the most part, I would say that nobody was stretching anything in their acting for this film. Everybody just delivered what they were asked, and it didn't feel like a James Wan film. It felt like hollow. It felt low effort. In fact, I would say that this entire film appeared from beginning to end to be the lowest possible effort that any of these incredible actors and actresses could even offer. Nicole Kidman couldn't even bring it in this film. Very flat performance, and I noticed towards the end that she seems to have something going on with her face. And that's not being critical of her. She was a very beautiful woman, and I'm not criticizing her aging, because if anybody's doing that well, it's definitely her. But there was something weird, and see if you see it, if you go see it, or you see it on streaming, if you understand what I'm saying. It's like there was a permanent line, like just below her cheekbones, like right at her jawbone. Very weird. Maybe that's part of the character that I never recognized before. I don't know. Now, the audio, other than that, the weird soundtrack, is pretty good. And it isn't overpowering. It blends in with the movie. The sound design was good. Cinematography overall was fine, but like a lot of films recently, it rests in one place too long, or it seems to take too long to get to the point, or there's establishing shots that are way too involved in establishing things, and it really does drag the movie longer than it needs to be, which leads me to pacing for this film was slow. It wasn't glacial. I mean, it's not like, a Snyder film where, you're going to have 27 years of slow motion, and I'm sorry, my Snyder friends, I apologize, but he does use a lot of slow motion. The moments in here when there are fight scenes look about 50% good and about 50% rubbery CGI. And to that end, CGI in the film is, as you saw in some parts of the trailer, really good in places and not really great in others. I don't like to see the blurry blend that's done that makes things look incredibly rubbery, because we just didn't want to spend the extra time to do a proper render. I think my biggest concern of the entire movie, is that it just was at times boring, and not of its own fault. I would say it's boring because it's allegory for climate change. Well, what I used to call global warming when I was younger. And quite literally, they go after that part of the message because that's everything that's happening in the background here. And if you don't believe there's a political set of messages going on in this movie, then you just weren't paying attention. There's one particular globalist organization that really loves this film because it leans into stuff that, well, that's the stuff they lean into. And if you watched Andre's review from Midnight's Edge, you'll catch my drift as far as what was going on there. But there's apparently a fuel that's really bad, and it's like making the planet really warm really fast. Oh boy, what else? Just for a moment, I'll talk about the star of the film, Jason Momoa. He is a great physical actor. He is or should be, a major action star. He was born in the wrong era, probably, because I don't see him getting somebody to write him something that would be normally a Schwarzenegger vehicle, a Stallone vehicle, even a Kurt Russell kind of an action film kind of a vehicle. And he deserves it. I think he would be great in like a Romancing the Stone kind of a film, or something like that he could just kind of play off as a lovable rube, the guy that gets lucky in more ways than one. I think he would be great at that. In this movie, he still feels wasted, and he delivers his punchy lines with all of the effort that they require, but as I said before, everybody was just kind of sleepwalking through their performance here. Ultimately, it's always about the score and the box office earnings, and believe me, I've got a video coming out that's going to address that, because I saw some comments from people that really don't connect well with reality about why studios make movies. They're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're doing it to satisfy an audience and make money. That's ultimately like the scorecard there. So, speaking of the scorecard, we'll do the rating. This film wasn't that bad. You're going to be surprised how high I rate. This film is a 5.5 out of 10. Sounds really familiar, doesn't it? Very similar to something I just reviewed that got a whole lot of views in Wonka. And it has a lot of the same issues that Wonka does. There's still an over amount of messaging in it. There's a lot of preachiness to it, and there's a lot of incomplete to it, as well as some pacing problems. It's very much in line with an average movie. And I know a lot of people are going to get mad and want me to have a better score than that, but I mean, look at it. You know, you're 50% of 100. You're halfway. You're middle of the road. And that's kind of what this film deserves. James Wan did everything he could with this. You can clearly see that they tried a lot of different things to make this movie work, from reshoots to, well, completely restructuring things. And ultimately, we ended up with a film that was probably the very first version that they ever shot. I think they probably added some things in here and there, but for the most part, anything that they would have done couldn't have made it better. There just wasn't any room for that. And if you're looking for my normal 5-star system, well, once again, 2.5 out of 5, right in the very middle. And if you want to go see a middle film, you certainly can. You have at least 2 of them that I've seen so far for the holiday season, and I'm going to end up seeing a third. And I largely suspect, based on some people that I know that have seen the film and opinions that I trust, that that's going to be similarly scored as well. So I guess the takeaway is, if you're looking for an average holiday movie this season, you're going to have plenty of choices. Once again, just a reminder, I saw a movie, you really don't have to. On that note, we've got some reviews coming up about Reacher, and I have a lot of positive things to say about season 2, at least the first 3 episodes that have been released. I also have another video planned to talk a little bit about why movies are made nowadays by studios, because I think maybe some education is due. And finally, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and have a happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, or whatever holiday you will support this time of year. Because, well, I want everybody to have a wonderful holiday period. And until next time, see ya!